Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Scales 13. So I've been getting some more questions, and people have been asking me. A couple guys got some new Ackie monitors, and they keep asking me like, "Hey man, like, what do you feed your monitor? Like, is it okay to feed them this? Is it okay to feed them that?" And I see the same thing in some of the groups that I follow on Facebook. So today I was just gonna go over what I feed my Ackie monitor. Granted, this is comprehensive. I'm not saying that this is the perfect way to do it. I'm just saying this is what I've done, and so far, after having this guy for a year, this is what works for me, and this guy seems pretty healthy, so I think that the diet that I'm providing him is doing a really good job with his health. So to start off, Ackie monitors are primarily insectivores. When people think about monitors, the first thing that they think about is, a big lizard that devours a rat, or something that's going to eat meat, or, something that's going to chase down and kill its prey, because the most famous monitor lizard is the Komodo dragon. Well, these guys are pint-sized Komodo dragons in a way. So with that being said, close the door. Crazy lizard. Anyway, these guys are pint-sized, so the prey is going to be much smaller. Now, the thing is, some people will feed them treats that consist of meat, let's say ground turkey. Ground turkey, here's the issue with ground turkey. So it's not a whole prey item. For the monitors that do eat meat, they need to have the bones, the organs, all that different stuff in there, because that's what's going to give this animal the balance of nutrition it needs with the food items that it's eating. And when you're eating ground turkey, it's pretty much just just meat, just the flesh ground up, and it tends to have a lot of antibiotics in it, and those can be harmful to your animal. So that's something that honestly I wouldn't even feed at all. Some people use it as a treat once a month, and it's probably not harming their animal that much. But for me in general, since there's no reason to feed that food item, I just don't. Some people also give them rodents. They really don't need rodents, and the thing is, there's two things you worry about with rodents. One, rodents are very fatty. Two is gout. So these animals, when they devour prey that's very high in protein, if the animal's not hydrated and if your husbandry is incorrect, the animal can easily get gout because it's eating so much high protein. And remember, these animals, they don't sweat like we do. So they get their moisture basically from the humidity in the air and the moisture in their food. And once in a while, they'll drink a little water. So with that being said, too much uric acid can build up in the joints, and these guys can get gout very easily simply from eating too much meat, including rodents and other forms of meat. So for me personally, I keep my animal on a strict insect diet. I think what else? So here's the other thing. The other reason I don't like feeding things like turkey or mice and stuff like that is because usually, the mice are frozen thawed and the turkey's in a bowl. So Ackie monitors are very active animals, and in order to keep them healthy, you want to make sure that this animal's getting plenty of exercise. So what I do is I tend to feed this animal crickets once or twice a week because, as you can see here, Thunder can chase him around and get a good sprint in here and there and get some exercise while he's eating. Also, if I want to feed him something, let's say if it's a canned insect or a worm, I can put that on a pair of tweezers or hand feed him and just have him chasing around a little bit. Now, if it's a day that he's very hungry, I'll use the tongs just to make sure I don't get nipped on the fingers. But it's good to keep them moving. That way they get that exercise like they would in the wild when they're chasing down their prey. So another thing that can cause issues is some Ackie monitors are too fat. And the thing is, that comes from a couple different things. Since we're talking about diet, I'm going to leave temperatures alone and just talk about what is available to them. So some of the primary insects that are offered at pet shops are your waxworms, your superworms, your mealworms, and They're very easy for the animal to eat because it doesn't have to chase them around as much as, let's say, like crickets and roaches. Superworms will run around a little bit, but they're still pretty easy to for the Ackie monitor to catch. And the thing is, you wanna. The heck was that? That was weird. All right. Anyway, yeah. So the thing is, you want to offer a prey item that's lower in fat and has less fat content, just so the animal isn't eating a fatty meal every single time it eats. So insects, let's say like waxworms, superworms, mealworms, you want to keep those to a minimum. I would only feed those about once a week. And if you are going to feed things, let's just say, you know, you want to give them more variety and you do want to go with, let's say, like ground turkey, which I don't suggest. Or if you do want to do rodents, do those maybe once a month, and that's it. Trust me, your animal does not need those, and you'll regret it if you wind up feeding too much, because these animals can get sick from eating too much of that stuff. So the other thing is how frequently I feed this guy. So right now he's a yearling. He just turned a year old. Happy birthday, bud. And the thing is, oh, never mind. He's still hunting. So the thing is, he's still growing. So some people feed their Ackie monitors about 3 days a week. Because they're monitors and they have a higher metabolism, some people will feed them just a couple small prey items a day. So what I do is I'll feed him about 4 days a week to 5 days a week. He has a very high appetite. He eats a lot right now. And at this age, if you're feeding primarily insects to your animal, it's very hard for them to become overweight. So he get his crickets once or twice a week. One day I'll do superworms. One day I'll do mealworms. Very rarely I'll do waxworms. Another item that's actually really, really good for them to eat is dubia roaches. Now, a lot of people feel kind of funny about dubia roaches, including my wife. My wife really doesn't like me to bring stuff like that in the house. But the interesting thing about dubia roaches is they have the longest intestinal tract out of most feeder insects that you'll commonly find in the pet trade. So what that means is the food travels through the insect's body longer as it's being digested, and the animal's absorbing the insect is absorbing a lot more of that nutrition within itself while it's digesting its food. So when the Ackie monitor eats the insect, it's getting a lot more of the nutrition that was passed down from whatever the dubia roach was eating. So they're a really good feeder. And for the most part, from what I heard, they don't infest your house because a cool, dry, non-humid house, they'll probably pretty much die in a day, unless you live in Florida or something. But yeah, that's a good prey item to try out. Let's see. But one thing that you really, really want to do, and I'll go into detail on how to do this more since I'm starting to create like a better system for myself, is gut loading. So basically, I have like a little organic gut load here that I've been using. It's from Castaway Organics. And the thing is, I'm not really going to go deep into this because I just started to try it. So later on, when I form an opinion, if I see any difference in my animals, I'll let you guys know. But it's good to have like a nice commercially bought gut load that the insects eat, because the insect is getting almost everything it needs, and it's getting everything that your reptile needs as well, where they really have the reptile's nutrition in mind. Also, I like to feed them things like spring mix, pieces of carrot, apples, all different types of vegetation. And of course, I keep my mealworms and superworms on like a little bed of oats, just so they always have something to eat on, and they have some substrate to burrow into. Let's see, and I think that's about it. Yeah, I think that's about it. What do you think, Thunder? That's about it. That's about it for our video today, huh? I love you.